I got my license.
What's that?
I got my license.
No, the story. What happened?
All of a sudden, I hit him. I don't know how. If I didn't have a license and I was driving, would I go to jail?
It depends.
I'm just curious. I don't know this stuff. I don't know the
Yeah,
laws.
well, so it depends. Like, if you don't have it with you, but you have one, is that what you're asking?
No, like, let's say if I don't have a license.
Yeah, basically.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Have a better day.
They're all great days.
What's that?
I said they're all great days.
Yeah. All right.
Hey,
man.
be safe out
Yeah,
there.
thank you.
In the wilds of the Pacific Northwest, a hunt was on. A man had vanished into those old forests after committing the most horrifying act imaginable. He needed to be stopped, but first he needed to be found. But the leads on this monster were dissipating faster and faster. He had vanished into the mists and rain, leaving nightmares behind. Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video it is the hunt for Travis Decker, a man from Central Washington who in the summer of 2025 did the absolute unthinkable before vanishing into the unknowable. And he's still out there. Great! Now, how about you and I, we go see the how, why, and just... what? Let's give it a go. It was May 30th, 2025, in Wenatchee, Washington. That day it was like that nice temperature, nice early summer temperature before you dive into those long dog days of summer. Wenatchee is a city in central Washington state, biggest city in Chelan County. About 30,000 people call it home. To the west and north lie towering Pacific Northwest mountains and endless forests. To the east and south, farms and high desert. It was at about 9:30 p.m. when a woman named Whitney Decker, she walked into the lobby of the Wenatchee Police Department on South Mission Street. She appeared pretty upset, like her eyes were red and swollen, like she'd been crying for some time. And I mean bawling. She came in to tell the police that her ex-husband, Travis Decker, had come and taken their daughters off for a few hours, but he hadn't returned. He was supposed to have brought the three girls back at about 8 p.m. This was all part of the custody arrangement. About 8 months earlier, a judge had issued this parenting plan where Travis would have access to his three daughters every other weekend for a specific range of hours. No overnight stays, but on Friday it was 5 to 8 p.m. Then Saturday, Sunday, it would be all day. So this Friday, May 30th, Travis had come and collected the three girls at about 5 p.m. He'd spoken to Whitney for about 15-20 minutes. Whitney would say, though, this day he seemed just a little bit quieter than usual. Then the four of them left. Travis and his three girls, they left. Travis, while leaving, said, "Hey, I'll see you at 8. No, he wouldn't. Now 90 minutes had passed since that 8 o'clock curfew. Whitney had called and texted Travis multiple times, calls going straight to voicemail. Whitney told police that Travis had been experiencing some mental health issues. He had no permanent residence and was practically homeless, often camping or staying at motels. So Whitney had no idea where he and her girls could be. She gave the police a description of Travis's truck, a white GMC Sierra. And so the police ran it through the system. It had last been registered by an automatic license plate reader going north on the Wenatchee Bridge at about 5:40 p.m. Likely he was driving with the girls, and if you follow this road, it'll take you through these small towns and eventually deep into the Cascade Mountains. The fear was growing fast of what he could do to those girls. He had a lot of issues, and in a place like that, you could disappear entirely. One of those four would do just that. The others would be found in the most horrifying way imaginable. Folks, you ever feel like there are systems in place just to keep you down, to keep on charging you again and again, and you feel like it's never going to go away? You can be drowning in interest fees that feel like they're going to be there forever, and guess what? Your wages disappear. Your plan for your savings? Gone. See you later. That is where PDS Debt is here to help. PDS Debt has helped hundreds of thousands escape debt from credit cards, loans, or medical bills, and they can help you too. PDS Debt goes beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personalized plan designed just for you. They have customized options for anyone struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, medical bills, the works. And there is absolutely no minimum credit score required. They are here to help you save more, pay off debts faster, and start putting money back where it belongs. Guess where that is? Your pocket. And PDS Debt, it is completely legit and trustworthy. It's A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, boasts thousands of 5-star reviews on Google, and holds a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. Why? Well, PDS Debt has only helped save thousands and thousands of people get out of debt. Debts creep and creep up on you. And not in like a fun, scary way, just in a plain old scary way. No thank you. If I needed a way to plan and handle debts and save money, it's what I would use for sure. A little help can go a long way, and you want people on your side who know this inside and out. PDS Debt understands your specific scenario and will help provide alternative solutions to becoming debt-free, which is where we all want to be. You're 30 seconds away from being debt-free. Get your free assessment and find the best option for you right now at pdsdebt.com/thatchapter. That's pdsdebt.com/thatchapter. Thank you so much to PDS Debt for sponsoring this whole video. Now let's get back to it. Travis and Whitney had been married for about 7 years before they divorced in 2022. Together, they had 3 girls. There was 9-year-old Peyton, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia.
Make room for, okay. Decker, nice.
You can't stop halfway, Abby.
There we go, Abby, nice. Olivia. Okay, bringing it down.
Oh,
Up,
nice.
bringing it up.
No, put it back
Bringing it down.
Oh, let's
Oh!
see if I can. Oh yeah, move. I did it! She bent it.
Got my
32-year-old Travis was originally from Wisconsin. He was a star wrestler on the Pewaukee High School team and was ex-military, in fact. He had signed up in 2013 and had attempted to become a US Army Ranger, but he failed to complete Ranger School. And then he joined the 503rd Airborne, where he'd been based in Afghanistan and then Italy for a time. Talk about out of the frying pan and into the fire. Let me tell you this, right? Flunking out of Ranger School, Travis probably didn't take that too well, because he often spoke about and absolutely idolized his dad, who was a Green Beret, if you can believe such a thing. So Travis, he always said he wanted to get into the Special Forces, just like his daddy-o, and he often said he was going to attempt it again, he would rejoin again, but he never did. He was described by his squad mates as a quiet, sort of a loner type. I guess he viewed himself as sort of a lone wolf. A hard worker, but a bit of a narcissist, which also means a bit of a dick. But sure didn't he just think he was the dog's bollocks. In 2021, he transferred to the Washington National Guard, then became a part-time member, and then eventually just sorta stopped showing up for the mandatory monthly drills. He was then in the process of getting disciplined by the military, if you can believe that, before he Audi 5000 did it. Now, during his marriage to Whitney, she would say there was never any physical violence. He was, never aggressive, or there was never any fists thrown around. But she would say he would sometimes do these weird little power moves, where he would just randomly leave the house without telling anybody. Or she would be fast asleep, and he would wake her by screaming at her. Perfectly normal behavior. Whitney really noticed that as their marriage started to, fall apart, and the light at the end of the tunnel was their impending divorce, his head egg was getting very, very scrambled. His mental health was unhealthy. The divorce proceedings were civil, and though he had his issues, he was described as a pretty good dad. The girls enjoyed hanging out with him, he was at the soccer games and the theater productions, he just had some issues. Sometimes he would scream at the girls. One time Olivia called Whitney crying on the phone. During the custody hearings, Whitney would claim that Travis had, quote, neglected his parental duties toward a child, and has, quote, a long-term emotional or physical problem that gets in the way of his ability to parent. He was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and a medication. You gotta be shitting me. He was also speculated to have, but not diagnosed with, PTSD. Now, as part of the parenting plan the judge had put them on after the divorce and going through the custody issues, as part of that parenting plan, he was supposed to seek mental health treatment and also go to like anger management counseling, but he just to that. At the start of the custody, business, he had initially been granted overnight stays with Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia, but after he lost his housing, that was poo-pooed. Then he began to live out of his truck, going camping, staying in motels whenever he could. But I mean, his mental health was in decline as their marriage came to an end, and it just seemed to, just get worse and worse. Like slowly, like it wasn't like an overnight thing. This was over many years, but it was definitely slowly but surely. And even like living out of his truck, it was not great. Recently, like 2025, he had been cited for driving around without insurance. Then in early May 2025, he had been involved in a like teeny itty bitty titty collision with another car. Now, when police showed up, the other person, they didn't want to like follow up or do anything because the collision wasn't like bad. But then on May 27th, 2025, so 3 days before this all began,
1941.
he was involved in another crash and he was cited again.
Everybody was rolling and everything was going, and all of a sudden I hit him. I don't know how all of a sudden it felt like he was sitting at a stop.
Light was green.
Light was green. All the other cars were rolling. I wasn't on the accelerator. I was still just getting my foot off the brake because I know this light's usually really slow.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we're sitting here.
Okay.
Well, we stopped there, and I asked them to come over here just so we weren't sitting over.
Oh, yeah. No problem. Can you grab your license, registration, not insurance?
Okay, registration.
Okay.
Sorry, it's all jacked up.
No big deal.
License, I don't have insurance.
Is your address still good? Okay. Where are you at now?
I'm kind of in transit.
Okay. So it's non-reportable damage. There won't be a report or anything, but here's the exchange info. It's got his information, his insurance.
The last part of it.
Sorry, what?
What you were saying.
Oh, it's non-reportable damage, so I won't be doing like a state accident report or anything on it.
What's the difference? I'm just curious.
$1,000. $1,000 of damage causes triggers what's called a state
So
accident.
it's less than $1,000 a day.
I would think so.
On his vehicle or mine?
Both.
Okay.
Now, Travis didn't deny hitting him, and in the body cam you can see he seems calm, normal. He's not being an asshole or anything. He's pretty level-headed. Though this ticket he received was a big problem for him, and the officer says it'll be about $1,000. Travis doesn't have that.
We are required, just so you know, you'll probably get a ticket in the mail for having no insurance. So we're required to do that if we respond to an accident.
I'm not going to jail tonight?
Oh, no, you won't go to jail for it. That's an infraction. That's not a criminal offense.
His wages, he was currently working at a Lowe's home improvement, were already being garnished for child support. He had been talking about getting rid of his dog due to housing and money, and now this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Have a better day.
They're all great days.
What's
I
that?
said they're all great days.
Yeah. All right.
Hey,
man.
be safe out
Yeah,
there.
thank you.
Let me know what's going on. You alright? What? You be alright? Yeah, you be alright? I'm gonna be alright. We'll be good. We'll work this out. Alright? Appreciate it.
As I said, Travis's behavior had been escalating over the years. Even his boss at Lowe's, his supervisor, was getting concerned for Travis's mental health. He would say that Travis was often bullied and isolated by, the colleagues at Lowe's, which is like, really? That's kind of weird. Like, the supervisor would say he thought Travis was just at a breaking point. Travis would say the only good things in his life were his daughters and his dog. And get this, right, about a week before he vanished with his daughters and his dog in his truck, he had tried to reconcile with his ex-wife, Whitney. He just, let's get back together, we can all move in together, be one big happy family. Whitney said, how about no to that? Then Travis tried to call his brother, who he was like estranged from for a couple of years, trying to reconcile with his brother. He did the same with his father. So it seems from reports that Travis was at a breaking point and he was trying to mend relationships he had destroyed over the years. That hadn't really worked out. Now he was gone with the girls. Whitney was confused and frightened beyond belief. He had never, ever done this before. He was always communicative. Like if he was going to be late or something was happening, he would always text her, call her, let her know, hey, I'm going to be, 5-10 minutes late with the girls. He had never been unresponsive like this before. Never once failed to bring the kids back to her. A bolo, be on the lookout, was put out for all agencies in the area to be on the lookout for Travis, his truck, and the girls. And the Wenatchee police also tried to do an Amber Alert for the girls. But the criteria for the Amber Alert wasn't met, if you can imagine such a thing, because there was no evidence that the 3 girls were in any danger. They were just with their dad, who had always, they'd gotten on great with, who their dad loved them. So I'm sure they're fine. No evidence that the girls were in any risk of injury or death. So that was a delay in putting out the word. The next day, May 31st, Saturday, this had become big news all in the area. Now, there was even an event in a local park in Wenatchee that one of the girls was due to attend, so police went to that event, staking it out, hoping this was all just a big misunderstanding. No sign of Travis or the girls.
The Wenatchee Police Department says that 5-year-old Olivia, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 9-year-old Peyton Decker were last seen around 5 p.m. on Friday, leaving home with their father, Travis Decker, in a white 2017 GMC Sierra truck for a planned visitation. However, all efforts to contact Travis since Friday have been unsuccessful. Wenatchee Police Sergeant Joe Eaton says the truck was spotted at the Leavenworth roundabout over the weekend, so authorities are now focusing their search in that area.
Where do you think he might be headed?
He was last pinged going out of Leavenworth, the 76 station. So I'm thinking up in the mountains. He prefers a secluded area with maybe some running water and a nice campfire. And so probably somewhere in there.
Whitney doesn't know, but she wonders if his truck broke down or if his phone died.
He's never done anything like this before. He's always very responsive if there's any deviation to the parenting plan that's necessary. So this was really unexpected.
Yeah, well, I'm so sorry you're going through this. What do you want to say to them and to the girls?
I just love them so much, and I hope they're safe. I hope that their dad is safe, and then I just hope that he realizes that he can bring them home and that we can figure out anything else after this.
The search continued all that weekend with no sign or word from Travis. Then the Monday morning came around. Travis was due to be in work at Lowe's, but he didn't show. It was that Monday a warrant was issued for his arrest for 3 counts of custodial interference. And it was that same Monday, June 2nd, with the search widening and stretching all across Schuylkill County, that a discovery was made. A truly horrifying one, like your worst nightmare. It was shortly before 4 p.m. and a Chelan County Sheriff's deputy was out at Rock Island Campground, about an hour northwest of Wenatchee, a beautiful area where you're really getting into the wild Pacific Northwest. Alongside of Icicle Road, Travis's truck was found. It was empty, though like out of a horror movie, there was 2 bloody handprints on the truck, and tossed around the area were plastic bags and zip ties. The deputy called and backup swiftly arrived looking for any evidence or clues in the nearby area. There's got to be something. And it was maybe 70 odd yards on from the truck down an embankment that they were found. The 3 girls were found. They were all dead. Each of them had a plastic bag over their head and their wrists were zip tied. They had been strangled to death. Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia were all wearing the same clothing they had left in. Likely they had been taken from their mom's house and driven straight here. Horrifying is an understatement. And Travis Decker, the man who likely did this, was nowhere to be found. Inside the truck, police found food, his wallet, blankets, and nearby at the campground was a tent and a cooler, but no sign of Travis at all. Travis's cell phone records showed he had been in this exact area the day before he collected the girls. He had been here Thursday night, stayed overnight, before returning to Wenatchee on the Friday morning, and then collecting the girls that evening, bringing them right back here. Travis's dog was found alive at the scene and given to like an animal society, but the hunt was on.
I want to pay respects to Peyton, Evelyn, Olivia. Your memory will never be forgotten, and we will not stop pursuing justice for you until those that were accountable for this are found. We've been conducting a search since early this morning up until later on this afternoon. That unfortunately has not allowed us to locate the suspect yet, but we are not done searching. As we speak, the Marshal's Office, the FBI, they're processing leads, they're conducting follow-up, and we will not rest until Travis is located. Travis, if you're listening, this is your opportunity to turn yourself in. Do the right thing, do what you need to do, and take accountability for your actions. We're not going to go away, we're not going to rest, and we're going to make sure we find you. You will be brought to justice. Those young ladies deserve it. We will take additional questions later on, but the Sheriff's Office, the Wenatchee Police Department, East Wenatchee, Douglas County, and all of our federal partners are going to continue to work with one another to ensure that justice is served. Thank you.
The blood found on the truck, it was tested, and it was determined to be Travis's. So, had he been injured? Had he hurt himself? Was he, after doing something so horrific, it wouldn't be surprising if he did. Had he, then hurt himself and then gone off into the woods, just ending this entire thing? If he did, he wouldn't be fair. But he had vanished. They could not find any sight, hide nor hair of Travis Decker in the immediate area.
On Thursday, investigators in Washington state urged homeowners in 5 remote counties to lock their doors. Trails and parks are now closed to the public. It's all part of the search for Travis Decker.
He had vanished into the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest. This is 3.8 million acres of Cascade Range wilderness, high mountains, deep lakes, endless forests. And Travis, with his military training, would be equipped to survive for extended periods of time in such a place. Even outside of his time in the army, he regularly went hiking, practiced his survival skills in the forests and mountains of eastern Washington. He had even, on one occasion, lived off the grid for 2.5 months. The trails and valleys, police would narrow down one search area but come up empty. This was also near the Pacific Crest Trail, a trail which hikers can take which leads directly from Mexico to Canada, which is where authorities began to believe, if he was still alive, where he went. Reviewing searches on Travis Decker's Google account, that's exactly what he had been looking up. On May 26th, he had searched, how does a person move to Canada? How to relocate to Canada? Jobs, Canada. The search went on.
Well, today is day 4 of the nationwide manhunt for this man, Travis Decker.
And law enforcement has now spent the last 3 weeks looking for an ex-soldier wanted in the deaths of his 3 little...
Today marks 1 month since Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia were killed.
It was sort of wild that nothing was found in the vicinity of the campground. Had he, on that Friday, brought his daughters here, killed them there, and it appeared like they had been dead for a couple of days by the time they were found, so that would make sense, and then just immediately put on a backpack and started walking. Why leave the blood? Like, why was his blood there? Was that a red herring? Was it some kind of false lead he was trying to do? Had he maybe attempted to do something to himself before he realized he couldn't? And off he went.
Major change in tune from search and rescue teams in Kittitas County, who now say there is no certain evidence that Travis Decker remains alive or even in this area. Investigators say they are now redirecting some resources to find or recover Decker if he has died, adding that possibility increases every day.
There had been a few reported sightings of Travis. One infamous sighting happened over the week of the 4th of July, 2025. This was in Idaho, in the Sawtooth National Forest. A family called the feds, saying they saw a man in the woods they believed to be Decker. This guy was camping. He had a beard, tattoos, and a gauge earring, just like Travis. But this sighting was... well, this guy was named Nick, not Travis, and this guy had to call the police himself, saying, "I'm Nick, I'm not Travis." He even posted about it on Reddit. Made it home safely on Sunday, and my friend sent me a news article on Monday about the Decker sighting. We thought we stayed in the area with a killer. On Tuesday, the dots started connecting as news developed with better detail, and I realized someone reported me as Decker. I tried the Fairfield guard station voicemail. Then Wednesday morning, my friend said they were looking for his van and searching with helicopters. I called again and got a human. I explained and they passed my information to law enforcement. A couple of hours later, 3 plainclothes investigators arrived at my office to vet the whole thing, complete with security cam pics of me from the bar and grill in Featherville when I stopped for a burger. Anyway, the national news narrative changed to "lol JK" within 4 hours of me locating me for them. I also learned I can evade a manhunt by pure accident by just doing what I do in nowhere, Idaho, with the help of some casual remote dirt road cruising. On June 10th, the US Marshals Service offered a reward of up to $20,000 for information leading to his arrest, and over the days and weeks that followed, authorities released more and more pictures of Travis in case he changed his appearance. A memorial was held for the girls who had been brutally killed by their own father.
I just have a short something to share. Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. You all look beautiful, and I know that Abby would have loved to ooh and ah over all of your outfits. She would have been amazed by all the color out there, and just thought you guys look fantastic. You know that Peyton would have sought each and every one of you out to try to find something to give you a compliment for. She did that for everyone, whether it's in the grocery store or at school or with me, always telling me, "Oh, you look so beautiful, Mom, I love your earrings," or whatever it was that she could find.
Their own father, who was still on the run. Who is still on the run. In early June, there was also another sighting, and this, as far as I can uncover, is the only probable sighting of Travis Decker. Like, literally, there's been nothing of Travis Decker since he committed that horrifying act. This is one that people think could have more, meat on its bones as a clue to where he could have gone. It was a group of hikers who were at Kalchuk Lake, which is south of the campground. This is deep in the Cascades, south of the campground from where the bodies were found. Kalchuk Lake, a beautiful freshwater reservoir surrounded on all sides by these vast peaks. To even get to this area, you need a permit. The entire area, called the Enchantments, you need a permit for permission to hike there, and the Park Service hold on to those permits like they're balls. You get one via a lottery system, and demand is high. Hence, if you see somebody hiking in that area, they are likely supposed to be there, and they know what they're doing. No one gets there by accident. The hikers reported being out there, and this is a very popular, hiking area, lots of people out there, lots of trails. They said they saw a lone man out there who seemed ill-prepared for the trails, for the weather, and this guy seemed to be sort of avoiding everybody. Wouldn't make eye contact, was trying to, hide from people. So this group of hikers, they knew what happened in the area, this guy looked suspicious, they called it in. Whirlybird comes around to Kalchuk Lake, and guess what? As the helicopter was approaching this area, the law enforcement officers on the helicopter, they spotted a lone man who, upon seeing the helicopter coming straight at him, books it. Just flees into the woods, and the helicopter then lost him in the tree line. Search teams then followed up. They went out to this exact area on foot. Canines even picked up his trail. But, like everything in the Travis Decker case, it soon went cold. Once again, he had successfully evaded the people hunting him. He was last tracked heading in the direction of Ingalls Creek, which would take you towards the highway, back in the direction of Wenatchee, in fact. Though him returning towards there would be highly unlikely.
A helicopter team then spotted who they believe was Decker near Kolchak Lake, but said he ran away after seeing their chopper. Canines searched that trail for him and eventually tracked him to the Ingalls Creek trailhead off Highway 97, but they lost him again.
It's worrisome to us.
This man rushed to pick up his mother-in-law Monday night because she was scared to be alone in her cabin near Ingalls Creek. That same night, authorities sent an emergency alert to residents, urging them to lock their doors and remain highly vigilant.
As time went on, cadaver dogs, they went out into the woods because perhaps he was no longer breathing, having had an accident or, done something to himself. If there's a dead body out there, the dogs will find it. They found no scent of there being a dead body in that area.
For 3 weeks now, Travis Decker has evaded capture despite an intense search going on in Chelan and Kittitas counties.
We're still assisting Kittitas County Sheriff's Office as they're conducting their search on the northern end of their county that butts up to the southern end around Blewett Pass 97. And then we continue to also allocate our resources from swiftwater rescue, looking at the Icicle River.
Authorities still not ruling out the suspicious man hikers saw in the enchantments recently as possibly Decker.
The route that we did find him taking, or at least tracked, was not usual for individuals to go through the enchantments, and certainly taking that route led to some additional questions.
Dozens and dozens of tips and sightings came in, but they too led nowhere. As determined as the authorities have been to try and find Travis, saying, we'll never give up, shit like that. It was in late July of 2025, so 2 months. He's been on the run for 2 months now. The authorities announced they were going to start scaling back the search.
The Chelan County Sheriff's Office says a decrease in leads and tips into his potential location has led agencies to pull back in their search. However, they say they are still looking for any new evidence and will search for new investigative leads. If you see Travis Decker or know where he is, you're asked to call 911.
The hunt would continue, but at a reduced size moving forward. It had been 2 months since he disappeared, and they had jack shit to show for it. In the release, the Chelan County Sheriff wrote, "As of today, July 25, Mr. Decker has still not been located, and there is insufficient information to suggest that he is alive, nor if he is deceased. All they have in the area are dead ends, repeatedly searching for Travis Decker." And get a load of this. As recently as August 1st, there was another possible sighting of Travis. This was near Snoqualmie Pass on the Pacific Crest Trail, due west. Authorities, they've raced to the scene of the alleged sighting, and they went there with everything they had. So far, though, they've come up empty. There's still a lot of people out there, though, not just police, but regular hikers and hunters, soon as it'll be bear season, if Travis doesn't get eaten by one, so the chances of him being found in the area are still pretty high, though not as high as they were if he is still in the area. So, what actually happened to Travis Decker, who, as I'm releasing this video, has been on the run for over 2 months? Well, the most common theory is that he ended things himself, on his own terms, out there in those woods. He planned this out. He visited the area where his daughters would be found the day before, so he had planned it all out, and then, he hid out for a time to get away from the scene, so far away from the scene that he would never be found, and then he simply ended it all. It makes the most sense. He was at the breaking point, and his remains simply haven't been found, may never be. It's also possible he had an accident out there, slipping into a river or a cave, buried at the bottom of some lake or waterway somewhere. At first, you would think he would be found close to his daughters. That maybe, with his life crumbling around him, and he said his daughters were some of the only good things in his life, that maybe he might want to stay near them. Then you could also have a Brian Landry type situation where he disappeared, going as far as he could go before ending things. Regardless, with the intensity of the searches, the sighting, the cadaver dogs, they probably would have found his body by now after 2 months. Though he was said to be narcissistic by his military buddies, and a narcissist will just keep on keeping on. He believes, rightly so to date at least, that he's better than the people chasing him. He can evade them and never be found, and he ain't wrong so far. Or he is still in the National Forest. This area, Wenatchee, it's rugged and dotted with old camps, old cabins, old mines. Plenty of places for an experienced survivalist like Travis Decker to survive, for quite a long time. He had been living off the grid for 2.5 months before. What's not to say he couldn't do that again. Though these searches have been big, this area is bigger. It's highly likely he is still out there right now. Wouldn't be the first time someone hid out like this. He could have left red herrings all over those woods, his blood, planted items of clothing to confuse dogs, gone out to these woods in the weeks before to prepare himself. Now, the probability of him surviving, trapping and foraging, not very high. Wouldn't be enough to sustain him. However, there are plenty of cabins in the area for city slickers coming to the mountains. They would leave on a Sunday, and there would likely be plenty of leftovers in their summer cabin pantries and in their garbage cans for a desperate man to keep himself going till he can get to the next cabin. Where the sighting was, where the man fled from the helicopter, is in an area called the Enchantments, a very beautiful region where he could hide indefinitely, especially if he scoped out the area and planted resources in advance, which he likely did. In these cases, though, it's usually only a matter of time before the fucker fucks up. Or perhaps he did actually make it to Canada, like he planned to do. Now, if you were a hiker on the Pacific Crest Trail, to cross the border to go into Canada, you have to stop at one of these proper, ports of entry, get the proper permits, yada yada yada. But a guy like Travis Decker, I think he could probably cross. I don't think he would give a damn about any of that, and could probably cross a border wherever he so pleased to do so. With the most recent alleged sighting being on the Pacific Crest Trail, this makes the most sense as to where he could be right now. Though we don't really know how much he took with him, if he did walk, all the way from that campground. Is he supplied? Did he leave supplies out there earlier? Because he left most of his stuff back at the car. Regardless, it gets very cold, but also very hot, and the trails through this area would have been pretty tough, especially with the police chasing you. It can be very treacherous, even to experienced hikers. Part of those trails still covered in the snow. This particular part of the Cascades, you read about people's experiences hiking this area, they say it sucks. It's extremely difficult hiking area and it's extremely difficult to hike through this area without A, leaving any signs, or B, the police could have just surrounded this whole area and trapped him inside. The police spent a lot of time on those trails, from the campground to Colchuck Lake, where he was spotted, if he was spotted, and beyond. If they found anything, they never said. The most recent searches have been done in an area called Blewett Pass, which is south of where he was last known to be. Authorities didn't give a reason for why they were searching this area, simply saying, quote, "Potential evidence and intelligence gathered in this area are inconclusive," meaning we cannot confirm any of the information is directly associated with Mr. Decker. Great! Since that search, there has been the more recent alleged sighting near Snoqualmie on the Pacific Crest Trail, which forms a route. Tracking his movements, or what we can theorize are his movements from the trails and sightings, is that he's looking to leave the area, perhaps indeed go to Canada, but rather than go through the mountains, he's going around them, first south, then west, onto the PCT, straight to Canada. I'm sure that entire trail is being heavily patrolled this very moment. But it should be noted that this trek would be brutal, extremely so, with snow at higher altitudes, and the heat alone has reached 100 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 38 Celsius, in the last few weeks. There is a good chance, though, that he is out of the mountains at this stage, hiding out in some kind of civilization. Most recently, the Chelan County Sheriff raised the possibility of somebody helping Travis Decker escape detection and hiding him. He said, quote, "Certainly, there is the potential that he could have someone that was just more sympathetic to him and is providing him assistance. We put the message out that we don't think that's a wise decision, but we get everyone's going to make their own choices." Yeah, I don't think it's a wise decision either to hide out a guy who murdered 3 young girls, but maybe that's just me. Regardless of what he has done, if he is alive or no, he has done a very good job of keeping himself hidden. Though hopefully, not for long. Travis Caleb Decker was born August 15th, 1992. He's 5'8", 190 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a light-coloured shirt and dark shorts. he is considered armed and dangerous. If you have any information regarding the whereabouts of Travis Decker, please submit your tips to the Chelan County Sheriff's Office or by calling the U.S. Marshals Service at 1-800-336-0102. Thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me that you're here with me watching this old video. I hope you found it interesting. And for anybody who lives in that area, just keep an eye out, because you never know. As I'm putting out this video, he is still on the loose, still on the run. So, yeah, keep your ear to the ground. That's all I can say. But until the next solo video, please check out the That Chapter Patreon, where for $2 a month you get early access, ad-free, all videos. There's a Patreon only exclusive playlist of videos. There's a Patreon only Discord. There's even some like the bonus, unedited interrogations body cam that I come across. That's all up there too. Or you can check out, right, That Chapter Podcast every Monday, brand new shampoo podcast exclusive episode. So do yourself a favor, give it a go. But until the next solo one, please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves, because I love you. Mike out.